Hello everyone and welcome to CPAC 2020. I'm your host Amelia Kane and I'm sitting down with Sebastian Gorka. Thank you so much for being here today.
Pleasure to be here. I always love to support Judicial Watch.
Now can you explain to our viewers what the deep state is?
There's many different ways to describe it. The permanent state, the permanent bureaucracy, the deep state. It's something that when I was in the White House for the first few weeks, I didn't believe existed, but then I saw it with my own eyes. The deep state are those bureaucrats, those individuals who are careers, as they are called, who believe that the identity of the president is irrelevant, that they know better, that they've been in their job for 5, 10, 15 years. And in the case of this president, Donald Trump, who I served as his strategist, are working in many cases actively to subvert his agenda, whether it's national security, whether it's domestic policy. These are bureaucrats who think that whilst they are unelected, they know better.
Now, can you give any examples?
Yes, absolutely. So I'll give you two concrete examples that I just described in an opinion piece for the Epoch Times. When I came into the White House, there was a special project I was given as deputy to the president, and I needed to bring 4 individuals in as part of a team from the intelligence community to support me in that work. And these were people I knew. These were by name requests. They'd been students of mine, 3 of them at the FBI, 1 at the CIA. So I put in a named request as a deputy assistant to have these people detailed to the White House, which usually is an absolutely standard procedure, should take maybe 2 weeks tops. 6 months later, I still didn't have those people. I kept asking each week the HR department, where are these people? I was given excuses. And then finally, Amelia, a friend of mine at the FBI, a good guy, senior guy, was visiting me at the White House, and he said, you know the real reason why those people haven't been detailed to you? And I said, no, please tell me. You need to understand, he said, that the 7th floor of the Hoover building, so the leadership element of the FBI, looks at this White House, at President Trump's White House, as the enemy. Despite the fact that 63 million Americans chose that man not only to be our president, but also to be our chief law enforcement officer. The second one was more prosaic, but just as damaging over time. Although I wasn't a member of the National Security Council, I was a regular attendee at the classified national security meetings on key issues, whether it was how we're going to defeat ISIS, the threat from China, how we're going to deal with Russia. And it was such a peculiar feeling that I'd go to these regular events with the highest level of US government in the building, and then on the secure VTCs, on the secure video screens, CIA, DIA, Joint Chiefs, you name it. And I'd sit there for an hour and a half, 2 hours, we'd be debating this issue, and nobody would mention the president's name. Nobody would say what the president wanted to achieve on that given issue. And it would be up to me, an hour and a half in, the guy with, the political appointee with a funny accent, to say, hey guys, you do know what President Trump said about China yesterday, or you do know how he wants to defeat ISIS, right? So this is the proof that these people think they know better, they're unelected, and it's people like Colonel Vindman, who in his testimony to the Senate said, I was concerned by the things the president said on that telephone call, and I felt it as my duty to protect the interagency consensus from the president. Hang on a second. In our system of government, in our republic, it's the president who runs foreign policy, who runs national security. It's not some 05, lieutenant colonel born in the Ukraine. And when we went into those, I'm a proud American now, when we went into those voting booths in November of 16, I didn't see 3 boxes. I didn't see Hillary Clinton, Donald Trump, and interagency consensus. This is the insanity, and this is why it's such a clear and present danger to the will of the American people.
Since it is such a clear and present danger, how do we combat against the deep state?
Well, I said 10 days in, 11 days in, when the new classified phone book for the NSC that had the names of the directors, the extensions and everything, when that had been leaked to the Washington Post, I told General Flynn, who I'd worked with in the presidential transition team, who was the then National Security Advisor, I said, Mike, you need to get a team of polygraphers from the DOJ, and we need to do a single scope polygraph on every single employee in the NSC to find out who the leakers are. My advice was ignored, and General Flynn ended up accused falsely of a crime he didn't commit. So we have to clean house. I'm happy to say when we were in the White House, we inherited a National Security Council of 420 holdovers from Obama. I spoke to the White House a week ago. They've got that number down to 120. And my advice to the president recently, I spoke to him 2 weeks ago, there needs to be a czar, there needs to be a person who's in charge of making sure that deep state operatives are removed from their positions across government. And if, God willing, he wins the election November 3rd, his first priority has to be cleaning the Augean stables that is federal government.
Well, thank you so much, Mr. Gorka.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Of course. And thank you for tuning in into CPAC 2020 with Judicial Watch.
And check out sebgorka.com for more.